Everyone, welcome back to another Fish Tank Friday. This is Todd with Twaiko, and if this is your first time here, well, welcome. What we're going to be doing today is jumping into a game all about making aquariums, and we're going to put together a pretty sick looking aquarium. Now, if you are someone who likes video games and likes fish, welcome. Hopefully you enjoy the video. If you are someone who is in the aquarium hobby and you're looking for a little bit of inspiration, well, hopefully you can find it here today. So today what we're going to go ahead and jump right into is another aquarium here in Fishery again. So we're going to go ahead and open a brand new aquarium, and I think we're going to settle for a 64-gallon high. So 16 inches deep, 32 high, 32 long, and like all my other aquariums, I'm not going to name it quite yet because who knows how this is going to shake out. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because I want to do something we have not done quite yet. We're going to do some salt water. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do the salt water. I think I might be doing a harem of clownfish. Now, if you're not familiar, clownfish are a little feisty to say the least, but usually if you get them young enough and they all grow up together, or there's enough space, or whatever the case may be, you can do what's called a harem tank, which is a large amount of clowns. The least amount of males, the better in most cases. Some fish, it's quite opposite, and females will tear apart anything that comes within the vicinity, especially when breeding comes around. But again, that's where we're going to shoot for, because we don't have to play by the rules of nature. We get to play by the rules of fishery. So I'm going to go ahead and disable death, hunger, breeding, and predation. Sometimes I'll leave those on, but I don't like feeding the tank necessarily, because then the food just kind of sits there and it looks ugly. So for videography purposes and the fact that they're digital fish, I like that they don't die and they don't breed. But we'll do breeding setups in the future. Like all other videos in fishery, we need to start with sand sculpting. So how I want to start with sand sculpting for today is just to kind of see how I want to do it. I think I'm going to go for kind of a sloping action of having this area be higher and it's sloping down. And you're probably like, wow, that sand looks disgusting. Well, yeah, it does, because I want to smooth it. So I got to build it up a little bit and then smooth it down, and then maybe smooth this side up a little, and just kind of play with it and see how I like it, how I don't, and just see what needs to be done. I kind of liked how that looked, but almost from this way, that kind of changes. We'll play with it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we like it. And but I'm kind of going for almost like, I don't know how to even explain it, kind of just a section of the ocean floor that just is a little bit sloped and slanted, and we'll be doing some rock work, of course, and playing around with it, but we'll see. All right, so because I want this to look lived in, we're gonna go ahead and start with just rocks that have the coralline algae on them. But luckily, the way that these interface and just the bright colors, you only get these, this one type of rock. It's the same rock, but just in different colors. But luckily, we actually can play around with it, and that's a little extreme, but you can build, just like you would in a normal saltwater scape, you can build these cool arches and stuff, and it doesn't look bad. Now, of course, the way this is built, because I just threw it together, looks disgusting, but that's not what I mean. What I mean is, they actually mesh together very well. You can't necessarily tell, hey, this is definitely meshed together, or this is meshed together, or whatever, right? So what I'm thinking, hear me out here, is kind of like a rock backdrop, and then having it come over towards the foreground and kind of rotating some of it around, filling in where necessary, and having it have a bunch of arches, because something about saltwater and arches, it's great. It is just fantastic. I don't know why it is, but I'm not the only one that thinks that way. Go look up saltwater scapes and you'll see arches galore in all of those scapes. It's just something that looks really cool, and it gives you a chance to really feature kind of some natural habitat of some of these animals. But I'm going to play around with the rock work next, which is always a whole lot of fun, and play around with the hardscape, make it look how I like it, so that way there's some hiding spaces. Probably going to extend this out actually, so that way it comes down, probably even down to here, and just, yeah, play around with it and just see how we like it. Because again, a lot of clownfish about to be put into this aquarium. All right, so now that we've got the rockscape up, we get to work on a few other things. And what I went is just for a very simple arch. And now, of course, this would be incredibly difficult to get into a traditional fish tank because this is right up against the glass, and that would horrify me that it would shift and crack the glass. Yeah, so, you know, again, relying on fantasy here. But basically, a whole lot of open section back here. A big section for them to go through, and then a smaller section here with just a nice little offshoot rock over here. But what we need to do is we need to actually start getting the salinity up in this aquarium. Yes, marine salt. There we go. So I don't actually know how long this or how much that's going to bring it up to. So I'm going to dissolve it, and it gets it to 25. Okay, so let's do some more. Oh, great. And it gets it right to 35 part per 1,000. Awesome. That's easy. That's actually really simple. Wow. I expected that to have to play around a little bit more. So we've got these tube sponges. We've got all these saltwater plants, sea lettuce, fern, seagrass, red brush, microalgae. Now, I have saltwater tanks, and if you're not watching the main channel videos that come out currently every Wednesday, you need to. But I don't have any micro or macro algae for anything. I don't have any saltwater plants yet. But yeah, we'll have to play around and we'll see. I mean, these mermaid fans look pretty sick. Those are kind of, I feel like, standard in the aquarium hobby, at least not necessarily maybe actually being kept, but people that look at the aquarium hobby. I feel like I've seen a lot of these. Let's align to surface 0 and let's do something like that. Maybe there we go. Take it back to 50%. But yeah, mermaid's teacup, those look kind of cool. This stuff looks kind of cool. There's a lot. There's basically, that's the easiest way to put it. There's a lot that we're gonna have to play with, but that's a pretty cool looking macroalgae bush. This red bush macroalgae. We'll figure this out a little bit, but as you can see, I kind of want to have it set up where you got these plants kind of just growing out of crevices. That one looks disgusting. Let's use this model. Okay, I like that. Put it right up against the glass. Have it growing against the glass. Huh. These are peculiar little things, to say the least. Yeah, we'll play with that a little bit. All right, I'm pretty happy with that for the time being. So we've got some of these Nomeris and Annulata on the rock, kind of just poking out of various little crevices here and there, like it's rooted in and started to grow out. I was looking up the mermaid fans, and they tend to kind of grow like this from what I saw in nature, where they kind of just seed out. So these look like the older ones, and then of course the younger ones and the juveniles. Same thing with the teacup plant, the mermaid's teacup. Not a lot on that I saw from just the wild, but the few pictures I saw, they kind of same thing, similar to the fans, kind of just pop all over. So I decided to make an island out of them. We put some sea lettuce on the rock itself, kind of like it's found its way and rooted in. And then of course the red bush macroalgae. So now the fun part. I very well could just do a standard clownfish, but I think we're gonna go for the black storm clownfish, just because of course it's a pretty sick fish, and if you want to see what one looks like in real life, go check out the channel. But we're gonna go ahead and drop, I think we're just gonna go all female. even though the sexual dimorphism of that black face would be pretty cool, considering that that's kind of the big difference between the male and the female. That and dorsals look a little different, but I think we're gonna stick with the female, and we're gonna go. No, because there would be at least one male. Because I don't know if you've probably heard of this at some point, or maybe you haven't. Clownfish can change their sex, so they can kind of go in, and one that becomes the most dominant will actually change over and be the female. Yeah, I think earlier I said you need more females and then reference some fish that's not the case. Yeah, I think you actually want mostly males and one female. Hold on, I've never kept a clown harem. 1 second, pause while I gotta check into this. Yeah, so I knew I was backwards on that, but yeah, the larger fish always tends to be the female, and you can even see that there in the max size, 4.3 inches to 2.9. So actually, we're gonna do it inverse. We're gonna do one female, drop her in, and she is maybe somewhere. Did it not drop in? I guess we need to put a heater in there too. But is it not? Oh, snap. Yeah, we gotta hit play. That would make a little bit more sense considering it's paused. So if we drop one in, perfect. Okay, awesome. So that's how big the female looks right now as a juvenile. Let's times 16 this. I'm also gonna go throw a heater in here, and we'll see how big she actually ends up being. I want to throw a tang in there, but I'm not going to. That'll be a different scape. Okay, so our female clown is now officially an adult. Don't pay attention to that coil of that heater. But she's now officially an adult, and she definitely sized up pretty well. So obviously you would not put, one clown in here by themselves, let them grow up. But again, this is a video game. I want to see how big she got. Also, ignore the fact that this heater is just chilling in the rock over here. This would technically be in the sump of this aquarium, but again, I kind of want this to just look nice, so it's gonna sit over there in the corner in the rock and just be out of the way. And now we're going to start with 11 males. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 males, and we're assuming these are all from the same clutch. And now we're going to let them grow up, because all the research I've seen is you want to start with at least a minimum of 12. And I think just because, genetics are a thing, I think we might have some room for some extra kinds of clowns, if you get what I'm saying. But I'm going to go ahead and track this one until it becomes a adult, and we'll see how big they get. They should be a little bit smaller than the male, of course, or the female. Wow, they grew up pretty quick. Huh. So that's already kind of packed out. But I think, because we're at 12 fish in total, I think we can fit a few more. Maybe, I don't know, just saying, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. Because of course genetics, right? They're not always black and white. They'll come out and also be just a standard unnamed clownfish. So we'll let them run and kind of see what this ends up looking like when everything's all grown up. All right, they've had plenty of time to grow up, and as you can see, this is the main female. She is chilling, and then if we check out one of the males, got more of that mocha face to him, kind of like the mocha clowns that we have. And then of course you got your standard just orange and white clown. But yeah, I think all in all, this turned out pretty well for kind of a little bit of a quicker one. I wanted to play around. The other videos have lasted a little bit longer. This one's probably going to be, I don't know, it's looking out to be, prior to editing, about half the length of the usual Fish Tank Friday videos, but it looks pretty good. I like the clown harem. Of course, I would like if they schooled together a little bit more, not just at the top of the tank, but maybe schooling and going through the rock work and things like that. But all in all, pretty excited. Pretty excited indeed. So if this is something that you enjoy and you like getting these cool little videos on Fridays, just fun little extras to the channel, all about different fish and cool little aquascapes, then make sure to subscribe, like this video, and stick around. But until next time, I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next Fish Tank Friday.